Hey guys, welcome back to the channel McNallie Money, home of all things stock, investment, and personal finance related. Now for today's video, we're going to be profiling a brand new company to the channel. They're in the psychedelic drug development space. The name is Clearmind Medicine, and I'm really excited about this one for a number of reasons we're going to lay out in today's presentation. Now before we get into it, please take a second, hit the like button, you guys. It's a big help to myself and the channel. If you're not already subscribed, McNallie Money, feel free to do so. And let me know in the comment section below if you're currently holding shares of this company, what you thought about some of the key highlights in today's presentation, and how you think they stack up to some of the other players in this space. Now with that being said, let's get into today's video. Okay guys, so that's right. Today's video, we're going to be covering Clearmind Medicine Incorporated. As you can see here, trades on the NASDAQ in the United States under the ticker symbol CMND and on the CSE exchange here in Canada under the same ticker. Now this is as of close on Friday, January 27th. You can see they're up about 9 cents US on the session, or about 2.4%, to close out at $3.92 American. And this is one that I'm really excited to talk about. They're in the pharmaceutical development space, specifically focused on psychedelic treatments for a variety of different disorders that we're going to talk about in today's presentation. And if we bring up a 6-month chart here, you guys, you can see Clearmind has really been trading anywhere from about $5.80 back in the middle of November of last year, all the way down to about $3 on December 9th, and very close to $3 again on January 3rd. So $3.92 does represent a fairly attractive entry point in my personal opinion, considering the growth and some of the major catalysts that this company has on the horizon moving into 2023. And that's exactly what we're going to spend today's video talking about. So if we jump over to the corporate website, clearmindmedicine.com, I'll leave a link in the video description below for you to go in and take a closer look for yourself. You can see this is a psychedelic drug development company focused on revolutionary psychedelics for treating addiction and mental health, which obviously are a huge concern for the general population right now, especially in light of the pandemic situation. And Clearmind is focused on developing breakthrough treatments for binge behavior and mental health, which include AUD or alcohol use disorder, binge eating, and depression. So we're going to talk about their portfolio in a little bit more detail, but as you can see at the bottom, Clearmind has already been featured in The Guardian, BBC, The Walrus, News Scientist, and Chemistry World. So the company is definitely starting to create some notoriety in the industry and starting to become a more recognized name in the psychedelic drug development space. And if you continue to scroll down on the landing page here, you can see their portfolio of proprietary treatment candidates really ranges a number of different use cases, from alcohol use disorder, which is the furthest along and actually in preclinical stage right now, to binge eating, depression, drug-assisted psychotherapy, other binge behaviors, and a variety of mental health issues, again, that are in various different stages of the drug development cycle. And that's what we're going to talk about next up in today's video. Now, with that being said, if we jump over to the investor presentation and go to the About Us section, we already talked about who Clearmind actually is in terms of their company. The goal is to develop and provide new types of treatments for unmet needs and lack of innovation in the field of mental health issues such as AUD, which we talked about, binge drinking, and even cocaine addiction. And as we've talked about in previous videos on this topic, this area unfortunately has not seen a lot of innovation over the past few decades. A lot of the treatments are outdated, they're not very effective, and in a lot of situations, it leaves these patients really searching for answers, solutions, and treatments which unfortunately aren't readily available. Now, in terms of the company vision, they see psychedelic therapies, which previously may have been overlooked or underused, as the future treatment for a variety of these conditions or indications. And at Clearmind Medicine, they believe the solution for AUD can help solve one of the world's biggest health problems, which is currently plaguing about 57 million people in the United States alone. So really a massive target audience for AUD specifically, and as we saw in the previous slide, Clearmind Medicine has a number of other treatment alternatives for a variety of different conditions. Now with that being said, I wanted to double click specifically on AUD or alcohol use disorder because as we saw, this one's the furthest along in terms of the Clearmind development cycle. And as I just mentioned, unfortunately AUD is incredibly common. It varies in severity from mild to excessive, and describes a person's inability to restrict their alcohol consumption despite the negative social, occupational, or health consequences associated with excessive drinking. Now, in terms of the actual impact on life, unfortunately, this condition contributes to about 3 million deaths globally each year, so millions of people are actually dying as a result of this condition and the inability to effectively treat alcohol use disorder. It's the third leading preventable cause of death in the United States, and in the US alone, it costs about $249 billion. That's as of 2010 in terms of all of the associated costs with alcohol use disorder in our society. Now, the solution proposed by Clearmind Medicine is the MEAI compound or molecule, and this is a psychoactive molecule that exerts euphoric alcohol-like experience and reduces desire to consume alcoholic beverages while showing a good safety profile in preclinical studies with the potential to change the lives of those millions of people we just talked about who struggle to drink in moderation. So it's really focused on three things here. Number one, breaking the cycle. So MEAI breaks that vicious binge drinking cycle and the decision point in patients' minds to actually drink or consume more alcohol. It's non-addictive, so in the anecdotal reports from the preclinical results or study, the self-limiting property of MEAI, unlike traditional treatments, is actually non-addictive, and it's also got an expansive potential to treat other applications or conditions beyond binge drinking, as we saw in that initial intro. And they then go on to talk about some of the specifics of these preclinical results in the investor presentation, so I definitely encourage you guys to go in and take a closer look, along with the toxicology evaluation and some significant details associated with this treatment alternative. Now, as a result of this development and focal point on AUD and binge-related behaviors or activity, this really gives Clearmind Medicine a clear competitive advantage over some of the other operators in the psychedelic drug development space or even the pharmaceutical development space in general. So most companies in the psychedelic field target depression and anxiety, which we've talked about in previous videos, whereas Clearmind is really focused on those binge behaviors, which is that massive untapped market we just saw. In addition to that, most of the other competitors in this space focus on classic psychedelics for which intellectual property is hard to file and approve or get that IP portfolio secured, where again, in contrast, Clearmind is the sole developer of the MEAI molecule and has a robust portfolio of protected intellectual property, which we're going to look at next up. And the third and final point here is most psychedelic treatment plans are designed to be used in unison with psychotherapy, whereas the MEAI compound or molecule is designed to be self-administered due to its high safety potential, which we talked about, and is not in conjunction to psychotherapy. So it's a lot easier for people to use on their own, in their own home, and therefore expands the target market exponentially for Clearmind Medicine. So that's really a perfect segue to this slide here. We just talked about the IP portfolio at Clearmind. They've got 23 patent filings, so a total of 7 utility patent families, and of the 23 patent filings, 8 are already granted patents with 15 pending applications still in queue. And you can see the focal point here. So alcoholic beverage substitutes, they've got 2 patents already granted with 3 pending applications. Their binge behavior regulators, they've got 6 patents granted with 7 additional pending applications, and then additional pending applications in the field of MDMA therapy, depression treatment, combination treatment for binge behavior, cocaine addiction treatment, and the treatment of obesity and metabolic syndromes, which again is an absolutely massive TAM or total addressable market. So now that we have a general understanding of Clearmind Medicine, their key differentiators, the company structure, and some of their main focal points, I wanted to jump over to this article here from biotechstockperiodical.com. Again, I'll leave a link in the video description below if you want to go in and take a closer look for yourself and talk about 7 key reasons why they've identified Clearmind Medicine as a stock that you're really going to want to watch moving into 2023. So the article is titled, "Discover This Little Known Stock Before the Rest of Wall Street Notices It. See why now could be the best time for you to start your research on Clearmind Medicine." And as I said in the intro, you've got a very attractive buying opportunity in terms of their share price at these current levels. Now we'll take a look at these 7 bullish factors identified by the article first up, and then we'll spend some additional time developing each one of these points as we move into the back half of this presentation. But the first reason here, you guys, really relates to the number of shares available. So an extremely low float count. Clearmind has less than 1.2 million shares available to the public float, according to FinViz. And that low float really gives stocks like this the potential to see significant price swings, especially to the upside, if active market participants take notice, or if we start to see some big investment from either retail or institutional investors, which we're going to talk about in a second. Now that really leads into the second point, which talks about this pre-institutional buying phase. So again, according to finviz.com, Clearmind currently has no institutional ownership, at least as of December 7th of last year. And really one of the key reasons for this is a lot of these institutional investors or brokerages are not able to invest in companies as per their guidelines if the shares are trading below $5 US. So therefore, because we're currently trading in the $4 range, a lot of these institutional investors, despite how much they may like the company, aren't able to invest, and you're actually able to buy in before we start to see a lot of this price action driven by the institutional buying. Now, as we talked about in the intro, Clearmind Medicine trades on the NASDAQ, again under the ticker CMND. It was recently listed on the NASDAQ. You can see they're trading in that $3 to $4 range, market cap sub $10 million, and this uplisting really does give a lot of additional exposure to potential investors. So really between the first 3 points here, that low float, the pre-institutional situation we find ourselves in, and that uplisting exposure on the NASDAQ, you really have a number of catalysts coming together for an explosive move in share price, or the potential move in share price throughout 2023. And that leads us into the fourth point, which is that upside potential. So Clearmind, as we saw, is coming off the 52-week low of about $3 we saw back in November. And with a 52-week high of $6.10, that represents upside in excess of 100%, you guys. And again, that's just the 52-week high, not to mention if we break out above that in 2023. Now, the fifth point here really talks about that IP portfolio. So as mentioned, they've got 8 patents that are already granted with an additional 15 patent applications pending. So any one of these individual 15 patent applications being approved could be a huge catalyst to Clearmind Medicine, and we've seen that historically with pharmaceutical focused companies. The sixth point talks about that untapped market or market potential, specifically focused on AUD, with that mind-boggling impact annually of about $250 billion in the United States alone. And then the final point here, you guys, number 7, talks about that upcoming clinical trial as Clearmind Medicine now moves from preclinical to phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 trials, which again are big catalysts for companies in the drug development space. So if you weren't already excited about Clearmind, here's some additional reasons why you may want to take a look at this company or start to do some additional due diligence on this ticker. Now, the article then goes on to talk about the fact that biotech and pharmaceutical companies really are responsible for some of the biggest innovative developments the world has seen recently. And in a lot of cases, the fact that these smaller, up-and-coming development companies will actually license their patented IP to potential larger firms with the resources and capabilities of producing them and taking them to market. So that could be a potential revenue opportunity for Clearmind as well. And it's really these patents that keep the biotech and pharmaceutical industries moving forward, which is why this portfolio of patents or intellectual property is so important and so crucial to Clearmind Medicine's future. So we already talked about how Clearmind is developing these innovative psychedelic-based medicines for treating addiction and mental health, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, but they specifically call out the alcohol use disorder market in this article and the spectrum of alcohol use disorder, which ranges from mild to severe. So again, a huge addressable market for this technology. And they then go on to talk about the solution, which again is this psychoactive molecule, MEAI, which is focused on creating that euphoric alcohol-like experience. Now, what's really exciting about this is, again, they've seen successful preclinical results for this treatment, and after 2 weeks, researchers found a significant reduction in alcohol consumption in mice that were receiving this molecule. And that's compared to the untreated control group, which showed no significant reduction in alcohol consumption. And what's even more exciting here is Clearmind Medicine has recently announced the initiation of clinical batches of production of its novel psychedelic drug candidate, which is the MEAI molecule. So the company will now start producing batches to be used in their first in-human or FIH clinical trial evaluation. And these clinical batches, or the production of these batches, is made possible due to the successful production of MEAI that was used in those preclinical studies. So this is a major milestone for the company and demonstrates the potential of this treatment to support a broad range of addiction and binge behaviors such as AUD, or alcohol use disorder. Now, they then go on to talk about Clearmind Medicine's IPO and their recent NASDAQ uplisting, but the thing I wanted to leave you guys with here, you guys, really relates to the leadership team that you find at Clearmind. And if you look at the CEO of this organization, Dr. Adi Zulaf-Shani, she's got over 20 years of strategic and operational leadership experience in the healthcare industry and a deep understanding of therapeutic development in this heavily regulated environment. And as we all know, this is a very difficult space to navigate. There's a lot of regulation and milestones that need to be met, and that's why you want someone with this level of experience in biomedical research and development and pharmaceutical development. So for those reasons, you guys, Clearmind Medicine is definitely one I'd keep an eye on into 2023. Again, some of the highlights here, whether you're talking financial, scientific, or their impressive intellectual property portfolio, really do create for quite a compelling story here. I'd be super curious to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. If you're currently holding shares of Clearmind, how you think this company stacks up to some of the other players in the psychedelic drug development space, and what you thought about these bullish catalysts we talked about in today's presentation. If you're still watching the video at this point, hopefully you found some value, so make sure you hit the like button. And if you're not currently subscribed to the channel, McNallie Money, feel free to do so. That's all for now. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.